Picture a world cloaked in shadow, where the flicker of a single candle casts trembling light across a stone chamber, its walls etched with symbols that seem to pulse with secrets older than the earth itself. The air is heavy, thick with the bitter scent of sulfur and the faint metallic tang of mercury, as a hooded figure bends over a bubbling retort, whispering words that blur the line between prayer and incantation. This is the realm of medieval alchemy, a forbidden art that promised to turn lead into gold, to grant eternal life, to unlock the very mysteries of creation, but at a cost that could damn the soul forever. Welcome to History Orbit, where we drift through the forgotten corners of the past, unearthing tales that linger like whispers in the night. If you're drawn to these shadowy journeys, where history's truths are stranger than any myth, let your curiosity guide you to that subscribe button, ensuring you never miss a descent into the past's deepest secrets. Tonight, we step into the world of the alchemists, men and women who dared to chase the impossible, their hands stained with ambition, their hearts torn between enlightenment and ruin. As you settle in, perhaps with a warm drink or a soft blanket, let the modern world fade away, and allow the cadence of this tale to carry you back to a time when knowledge was both a beacon and a curse, when the line between science and sorcery was as thin as a spider's thread, trembling in the wind. Where are you joining us from tonight? Is it a quiet evening in London, where the city hums beyond your window, or a still morning in Kyoto, where dawn paints the sky in hues of gold? Wherever you are, let's begin this journey together, into the heart of a practice that shaped the medieval world and left echoes that still haunt us today. Alchemy was no mere footnote in history's vast tome. It was a fire that burned at the edges of human understanding, a pursuit that drew scholars, monks, and rogues alike into its dangerous embrace. In the 13th and 14th centuries, Europe was a tapestry of contradictions, a place where towering cathedrals rose toward the heavens while superstition clung to every shadow, where the Catholic Church held sway over souls yet could not quell the hunger for forbidden knowledge. Alchemists were the outcasts of this world, men like Brother Elias, a reclusive monk scribbling in the dim scriptorium of a crumbling abbey in the hills of Tuscany, or Nicholas Varnier, a Parisian scribe, whose hidden workshop beneath the city-esque cobbled streets buzzed with the promise of transformation. These figures, drawn from the annals of history, were not content to merely study the world. They sought to reshape it, to bend its laws to their will. Their tools were not just crucibles and furnaces, but ideas that challenged the very order of creation, ideas that could elevate humanity or plunge it into chaos. The allure of alchemy lay in its audacity. It promised to transmute base metals into gold, to distill the elixir of life, to forge the philosopher's stone, a substance said to hold the power of perfection itself. Historical texts, like the ancient emerald tablet attributed to the mythical Hermes Trismegistus, spoke of secrets hidden in the stars, of a unity between the earthly and the divine that could be unlocked through careful study and sacred rites. Jabir ibn Hayyan, known in Europe as Geber, wrote in his Summa Perfectionis of processes that could purify metals, his words cloaked in metaphor to guard against prying eyes. These texts were not mere recipes, they were maps to a new reality, guiding alchemists through a labyrinth of matter and spirit. Yet, this pursuit was not without peril. The Church, that monolithic guardian of medieval life, viewed alchemy with a wary eye, its priests both fascinated and terrified by what it represented. To some, like the scholar Albertus Magnus, alchemy was a path to understanding God's creation, a divine science that mirrored the act of creation itself. To others, it was a heresy that dared to rival the Almighty, a sin of pride that could destabilize the fragile order of the world. In 1317, Pope Innocent IV's bull Spondent Quas non exhibent condemned alchemical practices as devilish, driving practitioners into the shadows, their work hidden in cellars and forgotten cloisters. Yet the promise of gold and immortality was too potent to resist drawing men and women from all walks of life, scholars who pored over ancient manuscripts, physicians desperate to cure the incurable, and nobles hungry for wealth to fund their wars. As we drift deeper into this tale, imagine the alchemist's workshop, a place where the air hums with possibility and danger, where every experiment is a gamble with fate. The walls are lined with vials of quicksilver, their surfaces gleaming like liquid moonlight, and charts mapping the stars' influence on earthly metals. The alchemist, perhaps a figure like Sister Clara, a healer in a small Provencal village, works in solitude, her hands stained with the dust of crushed minerals, her mind alight with visions of the magnum opus, the great work that could change everything. But what drove these men and women to risk their lives and souls for such uncertain rewards? Was it greed, as their critics claimed, or a deeper yearning to touch the divine? To unravel the secrets woven into the fabric of existence? Alchemy was not just about metals, it was about transformation of matter, of the self, of the very world. Historical records tell us of men like Roger Bacon, whose treatises blended alchemy with natural philosophy, arguing that understanding the world's elements could bring humanity closer to God. Yet, even Bacon's work carried a shadow, his experiments with volatile substances like antimony and sulfur hinting at dangers that went beyond the physical. The alchemist's path was a tightrope. One misstep could lead to ruin, madness, or worse. The accusation of witchcraft, a charge that carried the weight of the executioner's axe. As we linger in this moment, let the weight of their ambition settle over you. The audacity to challenge the natural order, to seek powers that even kings could not claim. The medieval world was a place of rigid hierarchies, where peasants toiled under the watchful eyes of lords, and the church's decrees shaped every thought and deed. Yet, in hidden chambers, alchemists like Brother Elias dared to dream of a world where humanity could transcend its limits, where the base could become noble, where mortality could be defied. Their tools were crude by modern standards, glass retorts that cracked under intense heat, furnaces that belched acrid smoke, manuscripts written in codes that baffled even the learned. But their vision was boundless, fueled by texts like the Corpus Hermeticum, which spoke of a divine spark within all matter waiting to be unlocked. These ideas were not mere fantasies, they were rooted in centuries of tradition, from the Islamic alchemists of the 8th century to the European scholars, who translated their works in the 12th century, bringing knowledge from Baghdad to Toledo. The alchemist's laboratory was a microcosm of this world, a place where the sacred and the profane collided, where the pursuit of knowledge was both a prayer and a rebellion. As you listen, let your mind wander through these ancient workshops, where the air is thick with the scent of burning herbs, where the glow of a furnace casts eerie shadows on stone walls. Imagine Brother Elias, his quilt trembling as he records a failed experiment, his heart pounding with the fear that his work might be discovered by the abbey's prior. Or picture Nicholas Varnier, his eyes gleaming with ambition as he pours mercury into a crucible, whispering prayers to saints and stars alike. These were not men of evil intent, but seekers driven by a hunger for truth, a hunger that led them to the edge of reason and beyond. The Church, for all its power, could not extinguish this flame. Its own scholars were drawn to alchemy's promise, men like Albertus Magnus, who wrote of metals and their properties with a reverence that bordered on worship. Yet, the Church also feared what it could not control. Alchemists who claimed to transmute metals were seen as threats to the divine order, their experiments a challenge to God's monopoly on creation. Historical records show that many alchemists faced accusations of fraud or heresy. Their workshops raided, their books burned. Yet, the allure of the philosopher's stone persisted, a dream that shimmered just out of reach, promising wealth, wisdom, and eternal life. As we prepare to delve deeper into the alchemist's world, let the rhythm of this tale lull you. Like the steady drip of liquid in a retort, each drop a step closer to the truth. The story of medieval alchemy is not just a tale of failed experiments or foolish dreams. It is a mirror held up to humanity's eternal struggle to know more, to be more, to reach beyond the mortal coil. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift with us through these forgotten chapters, to explore the shadows where history's truths lie hidden. If this journey speaks to your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community of seekers as we uncover the past's mysteries together. Now, as the candle burns low and the night deepens, let us step into the alchemist's domain, where science and sorcery entwined, and the pursuit of the impossible shaped a world forever. The medieval alchemist's workshop was a place of wonder and dread, a crucible where the boundaries of the possible were tested, where the line between discovery and damnation was drawn in smoke and shadow. Let's explore this world not as outsiders, but as silent witnesses to a time when knowledge was a dangerous flame, burning brightly in the darkness. As the echo of the alchemist's whispered incantations fades, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of their hidden world, a realm where the air hums, with the promise of transformation and the weight of secrets too heavy for mortal hearts. The medieval alchemist was no mere tinker of metals, but a seeker who danced on the edge of the abyss, blending the rigor of science with the mystery of sorcery. Let us step inside their workshops, where the glow of furnaces and the scent of molten metals tell a story of ambition, danger, and the unyielding quest for the divine. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in these shadows, to feel the pulse of a world where every experiment was a prayer, and every failure a step closer to truth. As the echo of whispered incantations fades into the stillness of the night, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of a hidden world, a realm where the air hums, with the promise of transformation and the weight of secrets too heavy for mortal hearts. Picture a narrow stone staircase spiraling down into the belly of a Tuscan abbey, its walls damp with the breath of centuries, each step echoing with the faint clink of glass and the distant crackle of a furnace. This is the alchemist's domain, a place where science and sorcery entwined, where men and women like Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara dared to challenge the boundaries of the possible. Their hands trembling with ambition, their minds alight with visions of a world remade. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in these shadows, to feel the pulse of a time when every experiment was a prayer, every failure a step closer to truth. Let the modern world slip away, let the glow of your screen mirror the flicker of a candle in a forgotten workshop, and allow the steady rhythm of this tale to carry you deeper into the medieval alchemist's world, a place where the scent of molten metals and the rustle of parchment told stories of hope and peril. The alchemist's workshop was no ordinary place, it was a crucible of dreams, a sanctuary where the laws of nature were tested, where the divine and the earthly collided in bursts of smoke and light. Imagine a low-ceilinged chamber tucked beneath the bustling streets of Paris, where Nicholas Varnier, a scribe by day, toiled by night over a cluttered table, its surface strewn with vials of quicksilver that gleamed like liquid moonlight, their contents shifting with every tilt. The air was thick with the acrid tang of sulfur, the sharp bite of vinegar, and the faint sweetness of herbs crushed into fine powders. Each sent a note in the alchemist's strange symphony. Shelves sagged under the weight of manuscripts, their pages filled with cryptic symbols and coded Latin, translations of ancient texts from the libraries of Baghdad and Toledo, works like Jabir ibn Hayyan's Summa Perfectionis that promised to unlock the secrets of matter itself. These were not mere books, they were talismans, their words a bridge between the mundane and the miraculous, guiding the alchemist through a labyrinth of processes known as the magnum opus, the great work that could transform base metals into gold or distill the elixir of eternal life. The tools of the alchemist were as varied as their ambitions. Glass retorts that bubbled with strange liquids, alembics that captured the essence of heated substances, and furnaces that glowed with an otherworldly heat, their flames licking at the edges of iron crucibles. Historical records describe these workshops in vivid detail, from the workshops of 13th century scholars to the hidden laboratories of urban alchemists, each space a testament to humanity's hunger for knowledge. Brother Elias, cloistered in his Tuscan abbey, worked with instruments of his own making, his hands calloused from grinding minerals into fine dust, his eyes strained from deciphering the faded script of Arabic texts smuggled across the Mediterranean. His furnace, built into the stone wall of his cell, was a constant companion, its warmth a comfort against the chill of the abbey's stone corridors, its light casting shadows that danced like spirits across the walls. Yet, this was no place of peace. Every experiment carried the risk of disaster. A retort could shatter under intense heat, releasing clouds of toxic vapor, or a miscalculation could ignite a fire that would consume the workshop and its secrets. Historical accounts tell of alchemists poisoned by mercury fumes, their minds unraveling as the metal seeped into their blood, a grim reminder of the price paid for their audacity. The alchemist's world was one of contradictions, a place where the pursuit of divine wisdom walked hand in hand with the shadow of ruin, where the promise of wealth and immortality was tempered by the ever-present threat of failure. In the medieval mind, alchemy was not merely a craft, it was a philosophy, a way of seeing the world, as a tapestry of hidden connections, where metals were not dead matter but living entities, each with a soul striving for perfection. The Emerald Tablet, a text revered by alchemists across centuries, spoke of a unity between the heavens and the earth, a principle that guided their work. As above, so below, it declared, suggesting that the transformation of metals mirrored the transformation of the alchemist's soul, a journey from the base to the divine. This belief was not mere mysticism, it was rooted in the scientific traditions of the Islamic Golden Age, where scholars like Jabir ibn Hayyan laid the foundations for experimental chemistry. Their treatises translated into Latin by 12th century monks in Toledo, spreading alchemical knowledge across Europe. These ideas found fertile ground in the medieval world, where the boundaries between science, religion and magic were fluid, where a physician like Sister Clara, working in a Provencal village, might blend her knowledge of herbs with alchemical processes to create remedies that bordered on the miraculous. Her workshop, hidden in a stone cottage at the edge of a forest, was a place of quiet intensity, where the scent of lavender and rosemary mingled with the sharp odor of distilled acids, where her hands moved with practiced precision, crushing roots and mixing potions under the light of a waning moon. Historical records of women in alchemy are rare, but figures like Maria the Jewess, a 3rd century alchemist whose methods influenced later practitioners, suggest that women played a vital role in this secretive art, their contributions often overlooked by chroniclers of the time. Sister Clara's work, though fictional, is grounded in this tradition. Her experiments with herbal distillations and mineral essences reflecting the practical side of alchemy, the search for healing as much as for wealth. Yet, the alchemist's world was not one of solitary genius, it was shaped by the society around it, a society that both revered and feared their work. The Catholic Church, the arbiter of medieval life, cast a long shadow over the alchemist's endeavors, its priests torn between fascination and condemnation. Figures like Albertus Magnus, a Dominican scholar, saw alchemy as a path to understanding God's creation. His writings on minerals and metals filled with a reverence that echoed the alchemist's own. In his De Mineralibus, Albertus described the properties of stones and metals with a precision that rivaled modern science, arguing that their transformation was a natural process guided by divine laws. Yet, not all shared his view. The Church's hierarchy saw alchemy as a dangerous challenge to its authority, a practice that flirted with heresy by claiming powers reserved for God. In 1317, Pope Innocent IV Bull Spondent Quas non exhibent declared alchemical gold-making a fraud, accusing practitioners of deceiving kings and commoners alike. This decree drove many alchemists underground, their workshops hidden in cellars or remote bays, their manuscripts written in codes that baffled even the most learned scribes. The Voynich manuscript, a mysterious text from the 15th century, may well have been an alchemical work, its pages filled with strange symbols and diagrams that defy deciphering to this day. The alchemist's secrecy was not just a matter of survival, it was a necessity born of suspicion, for their work threatened the economic order as much as the spiritual one. Gold, the lifeblood of medieval economies, was tightly controlled by kings and mints, and the promise of alchemical transmutation raised fears of counterfeiting that could destabilize kingdoms. Historical records tell of rulers like Emperor Rudolf II, who funded alchemical experiments in the hope of filling their treasuries, only to be disappointed by charlatans who promised much and delivered little. In Paris, Nicolas Varnier's experiments were funded by a minor noble, a man desperate to restore his family's fortunes after years of war, his gold-hungry gaze fixed on the scribe's bubbling crucibles. Yet, for every noble who saw alchemy as a path to wealth, there were others who saw it as a sin, a defiance of God's will that invited divine retribution. The alchemist's life was one of constant tension, caught between the promise of discovery and the threat of persecution. Their workshops both sanctuaries and prisons. Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey lived in fear of the abbey's prior, a stern man who saw alchemy as a devil's bargain, his footsteps echoing in the corridors a constant reminder of the danger lurking just beyond the door. Yet, Elias persisted, driven by a belief that his work was not just a quest for gold but a search for truth. a way to glimpse the divine order that underpinned the universe. His manuscripts, filled with notes on the properties of mercury and sulfur, were hidden beneath the floorboards of his cell. Their pages are testament to a mind that refused to be bound by the limits of the known. The alchemist's world was one of endless labor, each experiment a meticulous dance of measurement and intuition, each failure a lesson carved in smoke and ash. Historical texts describe the processes in vivid detail: the calcination that reduced substances to ash, the distillation that captured their essence, the fermentation that seemed to breathe life into lifeless matter. These were not random acts, but steps in a sacred ritual, guided by principles laid out in texts like Roger Bacon's Opus Majus, which blended alchemy with natural philosophy in a quest to understand the world's hidden mechanisms. Bacon, like many alchemists, saw no contradiction between science and faith. His experiments a form of worship, his crucible a mirror of the divine act of creation. Yet, the risks were ever present. Mercury fumes could cloud the mind, leading to tremors and madness, a fate documented in medieval chronicles of alchemists who pushed their bodies beyond endurance. Sister Clara, in her Provencal workshop, knew these dangers well. Her hands scarred from handling caustic substances, her lungs heavy with the dust of her labors. Yet, Shiti was driven by a vision not of gold but of healing. Her potions sought by villagers who whispered of her miracles, even as they feared her strangeness. The alchemist's world was one of isolation, their work misunderstood by those who saw only greed or sorcery in their efforts. In the streets of Paris, Nicholas Varnier was a figure of suspicion, his nocturnal labors the subject of tavern gossip, his wealth rumored to come from pacts with darker powers. Historical accounts of alchemists often mention this distrust, their neighbors quick to accuse them of witchcraft or fraud, their patrons quick to abandon them when results fell short. Yet, within their workshops, the alchemists found a kind of solace, a space where the world's chaos gave way to the order of their experiments, where the flicker of a furnace was a beacon in the darkness. As we linger in this world, let the rhythm of their work envelop you. The steady drip of liquid in an alembic, the soft crackle of a fire, the rustle of parchment as a new formula is recorded. The alchemist's life was one of paradox, a pursuit of the divine that flirted with damnation, a quest for truth that demanded secrecy and sacrifice. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift deeper into this tale, to walk the paths of those who dared to challenge the natural order, their dreams etched in the crucible's glow. If their story resonates with you, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community as we uncover the past's hidden truths. Now, as the workshop fades into shadow, let us turn our gaze to the heart of their ambition, the magnum opus, the great work that promised to transform not just metals, but the very soul of the alchemist. As the glow of the furnace dims and the scent of sulfur lingers in the air, we stand on the cusp of the alchemist's greatest dream, the magnum opus, a quest to forge the philosopher's stone, a substance said to hold the power of perfection itself. This was no mere experiment, but a journey that wove together matter and spirit, science and faith, in a pursuit that could elevate humanity or cast it into ruin. Let us follow Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier and Sister Clara as they chase this elusive prize, their hands stained with the dust of their labors, their hearts alight with the promise of the impossible. On History Orbit, we invite you to step deeper into their world, where every crucible held a spark of the divine and every failure was a whisper of eternity. As the faint glow of the furnace casts trembling shadows across the stone walls of the alchemist's workshop, we stand on the cusp of their greatest dream, the magnum opus, a quest to forge the philosopher's stone, a substance whispered to hold the power of perfection itself. The air is thick with the scent of molten metals, the sharp sting of distilled acids, and the faint musk of ancient parchment, each breath pulling us deeper into a world where matter and spirit intertwined, where the boundaries of the possible were tested in crucibles of fire and faith. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift through this labyrinth of ambition, to walk beside figures like Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier and Sister Clara, their hands stained with the dust of their labors, their hearts alight with the promise of the impossible. Let the steady rhythm of their work envelop you, the soft clink of glass against stone, the low hum of a furnace burning through the night, and allow this tale to carry you into the heart of the alchemist's obsession, a pursuit that could elevate humanity to the divine or cast it into ruin. The magnum opus, or the great work, was no mere experiment. It was a sacred journey, a path that wove together the material and the spiritual in a quest to transcend the mortal world. Historical texts, like the ancient emerald tablet attributed to the mythical Hermes Trismegistus, described it as a process of transformation, a way to purify base metals into gold, to distill the elixir of life, to unlock the secrets of creation itself. As above, so below, the tablet proclaimed, a principle that guided alchemists to see the cosmos reflected in their crucibles, each experiment a microcosm of the universe's grand design. In the 13th century, Brother Elias, tucked away in his Tuscan abbey, pored over translations of this text, his quill scratching feverishly as he sought to decode its cryptic verses, his candle burning low as the night stretched on. His goal was not just gold, but perfection, a state where matter and soul could be refined into something divine, a belief rooted in the alchemical philosophy that saw all things as striving toward a higher state. The Philosopher's Stone, the ultimate prize of this quest, was said to be a substance of unparalleled power, a shimmering red powder or a gleaming crystal that could transmute lead into gold, heal any ailment, and grant eternal life. Historical records, like those of Roger Bacon in his Opus Majus, describe it as the culmination of the alchemist's art, a substance that embodied the unity of all things, its creation a mirror of God's own act of creation. Yet, the path to this stone was fraught with peril, a labyrinth of processes that demanded not just skill but sacrifice, not just knowledge but an almost reckless faith in the impossible. The magnum opus was divided into stages, each a step toward transformation, each steeped in symbolism that blurred the line between science and mysticism. The first stage, known as negrado or the blackening, was a process of destruction, where base materials were reduced to ash, their impurities burned away in the furnace's heat. Imagine Brother Elias's face lit by the orange glow of his furnace as he fed lumps of lead into a crucible, watching as they melted into a dark, chaotic mass, a symbol of the soul's descent into chaos before its rebirth. Historical texts like Geber's Summa Perfectionis describe this stage with meticulous detail, outlining the use of substances like sulfur and antimony, their volatile nature a constant threat to the alchemist's safety. The air in Elias's workshop would have been heavy with the choking fumes of these materials, his eyes watering as he stirred the molten mixture, his prayers mingling with the hiss of escaping gases. The negrado was not just a physical process, it was a spiritual trial, a confrontation with the darkness within, a reminder that transformation required destruction before creation could begin. The next stage, the albedo or whitening, was a purification, where the blackened matter was washed and refined, its essence distilled into a purer form. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, excelled in this stage, her knowledge of herbs and minerals allowing her to create delicate solutions that shimmered like moonlight in her glass retorts. Historical accounts of alchemical processes, such as those attributed to Maria the Jewess, described the use of alembics and distillation techniques to capture the spirit of a substance, a process that Clara adapted to her own work, her hands steady as she poured liquid through intricate networks of glass. The albedo was a moment of hope, a glimpse of the divine purity that the alchemist sought. Yet, it was also a test of patience, for the process was slow, requiring days or even weeks of careful tending. Clara's workshop, bathed in the soft light of dawn, was a place of quiet reverence, her movements precise as she adjusted the heat of her furnace, her mind focused on the promise of the stone. The final stages, the citrinitas or yellowing and the rubedo or reddening, were less commonly described in historical texts, their secrecy guarded by alchemists who feared the consequences of revealing too much. The citrinitas was said to be a moment of awakening, where the purified matter began to take on a golden hue, a sign that the alchemist was nearing their goal. Nicholas Varnier in his Parisian cellar believed he had reached this stage once, his heart racing as he watched a mixture in his crucible glow with a faint, unearthly light, a moment recorded in his coded journal with trembling script. Yet, the rubedo, the final stage, was the true test, where the alchemist sought to create the Philosopher's Stone itself, a substance that glowed with a deep, crimson radiance, its power said to transcend the physical world. Historical texts, like those of Arnold of Villanova, suggest that this stage was as much spiritual as material, a moment when the alchemist's own soul was transformed, their impurities burned away in the crucible of their ambition. The pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone was not just a scientific endeavor, it was a quest that demanded everything from those who undertook it, their lives consumed by the promise of a single, perfect moment. Yet, this promise came with a shadow, the hubris of those who believed they could rival the divine, who saw themselves as creators in a world governed by God's will. Historical records are filled with tales of alchemists who overreached, their experiments leading to disaster or madness. Mercury, a key ingredient in many alchemical processes, was both a tool and a poison, its fumes seeping into the blood, clouding the mind, and leaving alchemists like Brother Elias trembling and forgetful, their once sharp intellects dulled by years of exposure. Chronicles from the 14th century describe alchemists who lost their health, their wealth, and their reputations, their dreams of the stone crumbling into ash alongside their failed experiments. The Church, ever watchful, saw this hubris as a sin, a defiance of the natural order that invited divine wrath. In 1317, the papal bull Spondent Quas non exhibent condemned alchemists as frauds, accusing them of deceiving kings and nobles with promises they could not keep. Yet, even this condemnation could not extinguish the allure of the stone, its promise drawing men and women from across the medieval world, from the courts of Paris to the monasteries of Tuscany. Nicholas Varnier, funded by a desperate noble, worked under constant pressure, his patron's demands for gold growing more insistent with each passing month. His cellar, hidden beneath the city's cobbled streets, was a place of feverish activity, his experiments a race against time and suspicion. The Philosopher's Stone was not just a goal, it was a symbol of the alchemist's deepest desires, a reflection of their yearning to transcend the mortal world, to touch the divine, to become more than human. This yearning was not without its moral cost. Alchemists often wrestled with the implications of their work, their consciences torn between the pursuit of knowledge and the fear of damnation. Brother Elias, in his quiet moments, would kneel before a small wooden cross in his cell, praying for guidance, his faith tested by the secrets he uncovered in his manuscripts. Historical texts like those of Albertus Magnus suggest that many alchemists saw their work as a form of worship, a way to understand God's creation by mimicking it. Yet they could not escape the Church's scrutiny, its priests quick to brand their experiments as heresy. The magnum opus was a journey that tested the soul as much as the mind, each stage a mirror of the alchemist's own struggles, their doubts and dreams laid bare in the crucible's glow. Sister Clara, in her Provencal village, faced these struggles in her own way, her work driven by a desire to heal, to ease the suffering of those who came to her door. Her potions, distilled from herbs and minerals, were sought by villagers who whispered of her miracles, yet they also whispered of darker things, of poisons and forbidden knowledge. Historical accounts of alchemists, like Maria the Jewess, described the creation of substances that could heal or harm, their dual nature a reflection of alchemy's own ambiguity. Clara's pursuit of the stone was not for gold but for the elixir of life, a remedy that could defy death itself, a dream that kept her awake through countless nights, her hands trembling as she mixed her potions under the stars. The Philosopher's Stone, for all its promise, remained elusive, its creation a mystery that no alchemist could fully unravel. Historical records are filled with claims of success, yet none are verified, the stone remaining a dream that shimmered just out of reach. Roger Bacon wrote of experiments that came close, his treatises describing substances that glowed with strange colors, yet he never claimed to have found the stone itself. Nicholas Varnier's journals, hidden in his Parisian cellar, tell of moments of triumph followed by crushing failure, his mixtures turning to ash just as they seemed to promise gold. The magnum opus was a journey without a clear end, a quest that consumed lives and left only questions in its wake. Yet, it was this very uncertainty that drove the alchemists forward, their ambition a flame that burned brighter than any furnace. The Philosopher's Stone was more than a substance, it was a symbol of humanity's eternal struggle, to know more, to be more, to reach beyond the mortal coil. As we linger in this moment, let the weight of their ambition settle over you, the audacity to challenge the natural order, to seek powers that even kings could not claim. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift deeper into this tale to feel the pulse of a world where every experiment was a step into the unknown, where the line between discovery and damnation was drawn in smoke and shadow. If this journey speaks to your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community as we uncover the past's hidden truths. Now, as the crucible cools and the night deepens, let us turn to the darker side of this quest, the forbidden practices and moral decay that haunted the alchemist's path, where the pursuit of the stone led to choices that could shatter lives and souls alike. As the faint glow of the philosopher's stone fades into the shadows of the alchemist's dream, we step into a darker realm where the pursuit of the magnum opus led to practices that tested the boundaries of morality and sanity. The alchemist's workshop, once a sanctuary of hope, could become a place of peril, its air thick with the stench of forbidden experiments, its silence broken by whispers of heresy and ruin. Let us follow Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara as they navigate this treacherous path, their hands stained not just with minerals but with the weight of choices that could damn them forever. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in these shadows, to explore the cost of ambition in a world where knowledge was both a gift and a curse. As the faint glow of the philosopher's stone fades into the shadows of the alchemist's dream, we step into a darker realm where the pursuit of the magnum opus led to practices that tested the boundaries of morality and sanity. The alchemist's workshop, once a sanctuary of hope, could become a place of peril, its air thick with the stench of forbidden experiments, its silence broken by whispers of heresy and ruin. Picture a stone chamber deep within a Tuscan abbey where Brother Elias is face gaunt. From sleepless nights stirs a bubbling retort, the acrid fumes stinging his eyes as he chases a dream that teeters on the edge of damnation. Or imagine a cramped cellar beneath the cobbled streets of Paris where Nicholas Varnier, his hands trembling from the weight of his patron's demands, pours mercury into a crucible, its silvery sheen a promise and a poison. In a Provencal cottage, Sister Clara, her fingers stained with the dust of crushed herbs, works under the flickering light of a single candle, her heart torn between healing and the forbidden knowledge that could unravel her soul. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in these shadows, to explore the cost of ambition in a world where knowledge was both a gift and a curse, where every experiment carried the weight of eternity. Let the steady rhythm of this tale envelop you, the soft hiss of a furnace, the faint drip of liquid in an alembic, and allow the cadence of our journey to carry you deeper into the alchemist's world where the line between discovery and destruction was as thin as a whisper in the night. The pursuit of the philosopher's stone was not a path of light, it was a descent into darkness, where the alchemist's ambition led to practices that pushed the limits of what was humanly and morally permissible. Historical records like those of Paracelsus in the 16th century describe experiments that went beyond the transmutation of metals, delving into realms that bordered on the unthinkable, such as the creation of homunculi, artificial beings said to be born from alchemical processes. Paracelsus, a Swiss physician and alchemist, wrote of mixing human substances with minerals and herbs heated in a sealed vessel to create a tiny, living creature, a practice that horrified the church and fascinated the curious. While these claims remain unverified, they reflect the alchemist's willingness to explore the forbidden, to tamper with the very essence of life. Sister Clara, in her Provencal workshop, knew of such tales, her own experiments with herbal distillations, and mineral essences skirting the edges of what the church deemed acceptable. Her potions, sought by villagers for their healing properties, were rumored to contain ingredients that went beyond the natural, whispers of blood and bone that carried the weight of sin. Historical accounts of women alchemists, though rare, suggest figures like Maria the Jewess, whose methods of distillation influenced later practitioners, were often suspected of dabbling in dangerous arts, their knowledge a threat to the rigid order of medieval society. Clara's work, though grounded in a desire to heal, was not immune to these suspicions. Her cottage a place of both refuge and fear, its walls echoing with the secrets she dared not speak aloud. The alchemist's tools were themselves a source of danger. Substances like mercury and sulfur, central to their experiments, were as deadly as they were essential. Historical chronicles from the 14th century describe Alchemists who succumbed to mercury poisoning, their bodies trembling, their minds unraveling as the metal seeped into their blood. Brother Elias, in his Tuscan abbey, felt the effects of his labors, his hands shaking as he recorded his experiments, his once steady script now erratic, a testament to the toll of his obsession. Geber's Summa Perfectionis warned of the dangers of these substances, advising alchemists to work in well-ventilated spaces, yet many, driven by desperation or ambition, ignored such cautions, their workshops filled with toxic fumes that clouded the air and the mind. Nicholas Varnier, in his Parisian cellar, was no stranger to these risks, his eyes burning from the vapors that rose from his crucibles, his lungs heavy with the dust of his labors. The pursuit of the philosopher S. Stone demanded not just physical endurance, but a willingness to sacrifice health, sanity, and even morality. For the promise of perfection was a siren's call that drowned out all reason. The alchemist's world was not just dangerous, it was morally fraught. Each experiment a step into a grey realm where the line between right and wrong blurred. The Church, the guardian of medieval morality, viewed alchemy with suspicion, its priests torn between fascination and fear. The 1317 papal bull Spondent quas non exhibent condemned alchemists as frauds, accusing them of deceiving kings and nobles with promises of gold they could not deliver. Yet this decree only drove the practice deeper into secrecy, its practitioners hiding their work in coded manuscripts and hidden chambers. The Voynich manuscript, a mysterious text from the 15th century, may have been an alchemical work, its strange symbols and diagrams a shield against prying eyes. Brother Elias, in his abbey, wrote his notes in a cipher known only to himself, his manuscripts hidden beneath the floorboards, their contents a dangerous blend of science and heresy. The Church's condemnation was not just spiritual, it was economic, for the promise of alchemical gold threatened the stability of medieval economies, where gold was the foundation of wealth and power. Historical records tell of rulers like Emperor Rudolf II, who funded alchemical experiments in the hope of filling their treasuries, only to be disappointed by charlatans who exploited their trust. Nicholas Varnier's patron, a minor noble in Paris, was driven by such hopes, his demands for gold growing more insistent as his debts mounted, his threats pushing Varnier to take risks that bordered on madness. The alchemist's pursuit of gold was not just a scientific endeavor, it was a gamble with the social order, a challenge to the divine hierarchy that placed kings above commoners and God above all. The moral decay of alchemy was not just a matter of external judgment, it was an internal struggle, a battle within the alchemist's soul. Brother Elias, kneeling before his wooden cross, wrestled with the implications of his work, his faith tested by the secrets he uncovered. Historical texts like those of Albertus Magnus suggest that some alchemists saw their work as a form of worship, a way to understand God's creation by mimicking it. Yet others could not escape the fear that they were playing God their experiments a defiance of divine will. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, faced similar dilemmas. Her potions a source of healing for some, and suspicion for others. Her knowledge a double-edged sword that could save lives or condemn her soul. The villagers who sought her remedies whispered of her strangeness, their gratitude tinged with fear, their prayers mingled with accusations of witchcraft. Historical accounts of alchemists often mention such suspicions, their neighbors quick to brand them as sorcerers or heretics, their workshops seen as dens of forbidden knowledge. The alchemists' isolation was not just physical, it was spiritual, their pursuit of the stone setting them apart from the world they sought to transform. The darker practices of alchemy went beyond the physical and moral. They ventured into the realm of the forbidden, experiments that challenged the very nature of life and death. Paracelsus's writings on homunculi, though later than the medieval period, echo earlier traditions of alchemical experimentation, where practitioners sought to create life from lifeless matter. These ideas, rooted in the belief that all matter contained a divine spark, were both a scientific and a spiritual pursuit, yet they carried a heavy cost. Sister Clara, in her moments of doubt, wondered if her experiments with life-giving potions crossed a line, her hands trembling as she mixed ingredients that no healer should touch. Historical records of alchemical trials, such as those conducted by the Inquisition, describe accusations of necromancy and witchcraft, charges that could lead to imprisonment or death. The alchemist's workshop, once a place of hope, could become a prison, its walls closing in as the weight of suspicion grew. Nicholas Varnier, in his Parisian cellar, felt this weight acutely, his patron's impatience matched by the whispers of the city's priests, who saw his work as a threat to the soul of Christendom. The alchemist's pursuit of the stone was a solitary one, yet it was shaped by the world around them, a world that both craved and feared their knowledge. The economic implications of alchemy added another layer of darkness, the promise of gold, a temptation that corrupted both alchemist and patron. Historical accounts tell of alchemists who turned to fraud, mixing gold dust with their mixtures to deceive their sponsors, their desperation a reflection of the pressure they faced. Nicholas Varnier, under the watchful eye of his noble patron, was tempted by such shortcuts, his experiments veering into dangerous territory as he sought to appease a man whose patience was as thin as the parchment he wrote on. The Church's condemnation of alchemy as fraud was not entirely unfounded, yet it overlooked the genuine belief that drove men like Brother Elias, who saw their work as a path to divine truth, not just material wealth. The alchemist's world was one of constant tension, their pursuit of the stone a balancing act between hope and despair, faith and heresy, life and death. As we linger in this shadowed realm, let the weight of their choices settle over you. The audacity to tamper with the essence of existence, to seek powers that could reshape the world or destroy it. The alchemist's workshop was a place of paradox, a sanctuary where the divine and the profane collided, where every experiment was a gamble with eternity. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift deeper into this tale, to feel the pulse of a world where knowledge was a dangerous flame, burning brightly in the darkness. If this journey speaks to your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community as we uncover the past's hidden truths. Now, as the fumes of the workshop fade and the night deepens, let us turn to the Church's wrath and the veil of secrecy that cloaked the alchemist's world, a realm where fear and faith battled for supremacy and the cost of knowledge was paid in whispers and shadows. As the acrid fumes of forbidden experiments dissolve into the stillness of the night, we step into a world where the alchemist's dreams were shadowed by the Church's unyielding gaze, where every discovery was cloaked in secrecy to escape the wrath of those who saw knowledge as a threat. The workshop, once a haven, became a battleground, its walls echoing with the footsteps of inquisitors and the whispers of coded manuscripts. Let us follow Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara as they navigate this treacherous landscape, their lives balanced on the edge of a blade, their secrets guarded by the thinnest of veils. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this twilight, to explore a world where the pursuit of truth was a rebellion against the divine order, where the alchemist's legacy was written in fear and defiance. As the acrid fumes of forbidden experiments dissolve into the stillness of the night, we step into a world where the alchemist's dreams were shadowed by the Catholic Church's unyielding gaze, where every discovery was cloaked in secrecy to escape the wrath of those who saw knowledge as a threat. The workshop, once a haven of flickering candles and bubbling retorts, became a battleground, its stone walls echoing with the footsteps of inquisitors and the whispers of coded manuscripts. Picture Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey, his heart pounding as he hides his manuscripts beneath the floorboards, the faint creak of wood betraying his fear of discovery. Or imagine Nicholas Varnier in his Parisian cellar, his eyes darting to the door as he pours molten lead into a crucible, the weight of the city's watchful priests pressing against his soul. In a Provencal cottage, Sister Clara works in silence, her hands steady as she grinds herbs under the pale glow of a waning moon, her every movement shrouded in caution, for the Church's reach extended even to the edges of her village. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this twilight, to explore a world where the pursuit of truth was a rebellion against the divine order, where the alchemist's legacy was written in fear and defiance. Let the soft rhythm of this tale envelop you, the distant toll of a cathedral bell, the rustle of parchment in a hidden chamber, and allow the cadence of our journey to carry you deeper into the alchemist's shadowed existence, where knowledge was a flame that burned brightly but could consume all in its path. The Catholic Church, the arbiter of medieval life, stood as a towering presence over the alchemist's world, its doctrines shaping every thought and deed, its decrees a sword held above those who dared to challenge its authority. Alchemy, with its promise of transmuting metals and distilling the elixir of life, was both a fascination and a heresy, a practice that drew the Church's scholars and its inquisitors in equal measure. Historical records, like the 1317 papal bull Spondent Quas non exhibent issued by Pope Innocent IV, condemned alchemists as frauds, accusing them of deceiving kings and commoners with promises of gold they could not deliver. This decree was not merely a warning, it was a call to action, empowering the Church to root out those who tampered with the divine order, their workshops raided, their books burned, their lives forfeit to the flames of the Inquisition. Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey felt the weight of this decree, his experiments conducted in the dead of night, his manuscripts written in a cipher known only to a trusted few, their cryptic symbols a shield. Against the prying eyes of the abbey's prior, the Church's wrath was not just spiritual, it was a force that reshaped the alchemists' world, driving them into the shadows where secrecy became their only defense. The alchemists' response to this persecution was not surrender, but subterfuge. Their work cloaked in a veil of secrecy that protected their secrets while fueling their mystique. Historical texts, like the enigmatic Voynich manuscript from the 15th century, suggest the lengths to which alchemists went to guard their knowledge. Its pages filled with strange symbols and diagrams that defy deciphering to this day. Scholars speculate it may have been an alchemical text, its coded language a testament to the dangers faced by those who pursued forbidden knowledge. Nicholas Varnier, in his Parisian cellar, adopted similar tactics, his journals filled with cryptic notations, his formulas disguised as prayers, his experiments conducted behind locked doors and shuttered windows. The air in his workshop was heavy with the scent of molten metals, but heavier still with the fear of discovery. For a single misplaced word could bring the Inquisition to his door. The alchemist's secrecy was not just a matter of survival, it was a way of life. Their workshops hidden in cellars, attics, and remote cloisters. Their communications conducted through trusted intermediaries who carried messages across cities and kingdoms. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, relied on such networks her potions delivered to villagers by a young apprentice who knew better than to speak of her work. Her recipes hidden in plain sight among herbal remedies their true purpose, known only to those who shared her craft. Historical accounts describe these secretive networks, loose alliances of alchemists who shared knowledge through coded letters and clandestine meetings, their trust forged in the crucible of shared danger. The Church's pursuit of alchemists was relentless, its inquisitors trained to sniff out heresy in every corner of Christendom. Historical records from the 14th century detail trials where alchemists were accused of witchcraft, fraud, and even necromancy, their experiments seen as a direct challenge to God's monopoly on creation. In 1323, a Florentine alchemist was brought before the Inquisition, his workshop dismantled, his manuscripts burned, his fate a warning to others who dared to follow his path. Brother Elias knew of such tales, his prayers in the abbey's chapel laced with fear, his faith tested by the knowledge that his work could be branded as heresy. The Inquisition was not a distant threat, it was a shadow that loomed over every experiment. Its agents capable of appearing without warning, their questions sharp as blades. Nicholas Varnier in Paris lived in constant dread of such visits, his patrons' demands for gold matched by the Church's demands for orthodoxy, his cellar a prison as much as a laboratory. The alchemist's life was one of isolation, their secrecy a wall that separated them from the world, their pursuit of truth a solitary burden that weighed heavily on their souls. The psychological toll of this clandestine existence was profound. The alchemist's mind as much a battleground as their workshop. Historical chronicles describe alchemists who succumbed to madness, their bodies poisoned by mercury, their minds fractured by the weight of their secrets. Mercury poisoning, a common affliction among alchemists, caused tremors, memory loss, and paranoia symptoms that Brother Elias began to notice in himself, his hands shaking. As he poured liquids into his retorts, his thoughts clouded by visions of failure and betrayal. Geber's Summa Perfectionis warned of these dangers, advising alchemists to protect themselves from toxic fumes. Yet the urgency of their work often overrode caution, their ambition a flame that consumed reason. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, felt this toll in her own way. Her nights haunted by dreams of the villagers who whispered of her strangeness, their gratitude for her potions tinged with suspicion that could turn to accusation. Historical accounts of women in alchemy, though sparse, suggest they faced unique pressures, their knowledge seen as unnatural, their independence a threat to the patriarchal order. Clara's apprentice, a young girl with wide eyes and a quiet tongue, was her only confidant. Yet even this bond was fragile, for trust was a luxury the alchemist could ill afford. The church's wrath was not the only threat. Society itself turned against the alchemist, their work misunderstood by those who saw only sorcery in their experiments. In Paris, Nicholas Varnier was a figure of gossip, his nocturnal labors the subject of tavern tales, his wealth rumored to come from pacts with darker powers. Historical records of alchemists often mention such suspicions, their neighbors quick to accuse them of witchcraft, their patrons quick to abandon them when results fell short. Varnier's patron, a noble whose fortunes depended on the promise of alchemical gold, grew increasingly impatient, his threats a constant reminder of the stakes involved. The economic implications of alchemy added another layer of danger, the promise of gold a temptation that could destabilize kingdoms. The Church's 1317 bull was as much about protecting the economic order as the spiritual one. For counterfeit gold could undermine the authority of kings and mints. Historical accounts tell of rulers like Emperor Rudolph II, who funded alchemical experiments only to be disappointed by charlatans, their failures fueling the Church's case against the art. The alchemists' secrecy was a response to these pressures, their coded manuscripts and hidden workshops a shield against a world that both craved and feared their knowledge. Yet, this secrecy came at a cost, the alchemists' isolation deepening with every coded word, every locked door. Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey found solace in his manuscripts, their cryptic symbols a language that connected him to a hidden community of seekers. Yet they also separated him from the monks who once called him brother. The Voynich manuscript, with its undeciphered script, may have been a product of such isolation, its creator pouring their secrets into pages that no one could read, a testament to the alchemist's solitary struggle. Nicholas Varnier, in his cellar, felt this isolation acutely, his journals a record of experiments and fears, their pages filled with a longing for a world where knowledge could be shared without fear. The alchemist's life was one of paradox, their pursuit of truth a rebellion that demanded silence, their dreams of transformation bound by the chains of secrecy. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, navigated this paradox with care, her potions a bridge between her world and the village beyond. Yet each delivery was a risk, each whispered rumor a step closer to ruin. Historical accounts of alchemists describe this delicate balance, their work a dance on the edge of a precipice where one misstep could lead to disaster. The Church's wrath was a constant threat, yet it could not extinguish the alchemist's flame, their ambition burning brighter than any inquisitor's fire. As we linger in this shadowed world, let the weight of their secrecy settle over you. The courage to pursue truth in the face of persecution, the sacrifice of those who dared to dream beyond the divine order. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift deeper into this tale, to feel the pulse of a world where knowledge was a dangerous gift, its secrets guarded by those who paid the ultimate price. If this journey speaks to your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community as we uncover the past's hidden truths. Now as the veil of secrecy lifts and the night deepens, let us turn to the legacy of alchemy, a legacy that stretched beyond the medieval world to shape the dawn of modern science, a testament to the alchemist's enduring dream of transformation. As the echoes of the Church's decrees fade into the stillness of the night, we step from the shadows of secrecy into the light of alchemy's enduring legacy, a legacy that transformed not just metals but the very foundations of human knowledge. The alchemist's workshop, once a place of fear and defiance, became a crucible for ideas that would shape the modern world, its secrets giving birth to the science we know today. Let us follow Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara one final time, as their dreams and struggles echo through the centuries, their pursuit of the impossible a spark that ignited a new era. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this twilight, to explore a world where the alchemist's legacy lives on, a testament to the power of human curiosity and the cost of its pursuit. As the echoes of the Church's decrees fade into the stillness of the night, we step from the shadows of secrecy into the light of alchemy's enduring legacy, a legacy that transformed not just metals but the very foundations of human knowledge. The alchemist's workshop, once a place of fear and defiance, became a crucible for ideas that would shape the modern world, its flickering candles and bubbling retorts giving way to the laboratories of a new era. Picture Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey, his quill scratching across parchment as he records a final experiment, the faint glow of his furnace casting shadows that seem to stretch toward the future. Or imagine Nicholas Varnier in his Parisian cellar, his hands stained with mercury, his journals filled with dreams that would outlive his time. In a Provencal cottage, Sister Clara grinds herbs under the soft light of dawn, her potions a bridge between the old world and the new, her quiet wisdom a spark that would ignite generations. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this twilight, to explore a world where the alchemist's legacy lives on, a testament to the power of human curiosity and the cost of its pursuit. Let the gentle rhythm of this tale envelop you, the soft crackle of a dying fire, the rustle of leaves outside a cottage window, and allow the cadence of our journey to carry you through the centuries, from the medieval shadows to the dawn of modern science where the alchemist's dreams found new life in the crucible of progress. The alchemists, for all their secrecy and peril, were not mere dreamers chasing impossible gold. They were pioneers whose experiments laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution, their failures as instructive as their successes. Historical records show that alchemy, with its blend of mysticism and experimentation, was a precursor to modern chemistry, its practitioners the forerunners of scientists like Robert Boyle, whose work in the 17th century built on alchemical foundations. Boyle, often called the father of modern chemistry, used methods that echoed the alchemist's art. His experiments with gases and chemical reactions rooted in the same curiosity that drove Brother Elias to test the properties of sulfur and mercury. In his Sceptical Chymist, Boyle acknowledged the contributions of alchemists, their meticulous observations of matter providing a foundation for his own work. Even as he distanced himself from their mystical claims, the alchemist's workshop, with its alembics and furnaces, was not so different from the laboratories of early modern scientists, its tools and techniques refined into the instruments of a new age. Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey was part of this lineage, his manuscripts filled with observations of chemical reactions, their cryptic symbols a precursor to the precise notations of modern chemistry. His experiments, though cloaked in the language of the magnum opus, were exercises in empirical observation, each failure a lesson that brought humanity closer to understanding the world's hidden mechanisms. The alchemist's pursuit of the philosopher's stone, though never realized, was a quest for knowledge that transcended its immediate goal, its methods influencing figures like Roger Bacon, whose opus majus blended alchemy with natural philosophy, arguing that the study of matter could reveal God's design. Bacon's work, written in the 13th century, was a bridge between the medieval and the modern, his call for experimentation a challenge to the Church's reliance on scripture alone. The alchemists' legacy was not just in their tools, but in their mindset, their willingness to question the natural order, to seek answers through trial and error, to believe that the world could be understood through reason and observation. Nicholas Varnier in his Parisian cellar embodied this spirit, his journals a record of countless experiments, each one a step toward a truth that lay just beyond his reach. Historical accounts of alchemists like Geber, whose Summa Perfection has detailed the properties of metals and minerals, show a rigor that anticipated modern science, their work translated and studied by scholars who would shape the Enlightenment. The alchemist's dream of transmutation, though unfulfilled, was a spark that ignited a broader quest for knowledge, its flames burning through the centuries to light the way for a new era. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, contributed to this legacy in her own way. Her potions a blend of alchemy and medicine that foreshadowed the work of early pharmacists. Historical figures like Maria the Jewess, whose distillation techniques were passed down through the centuries, show that women played a vital role in this transition, their knowledge of herbs and minerals laying the groundwork for modern pharmacology. Clara's work, though hidden from the church's gaze, was sought by villagers who saw her as a healer. Her remedies easing pain and curing ailments in ways that anticipated the scientific method. Her cottage, with its shelves of dried herbs and vials of distilled essences, was a laboratory in all but name. Its quiet experiments a testament to the alchemist's enduring influence. The alchemist's legacy was not without its shadows, for their pursuit of knowledge came at a cost, their lives marked by sacrifice and suspicion. The church's wrath, as we saw in the shadows of the previous section, drove alchemists like Brother Elias into secrecy, their work hidden behind coded manuscripts and locked doors. Yet, this secrecy also preserved their knowledge, allowing it to survive the fires of the Inquisition and reach the scholars of the Renaissance. The Voynich manuscript, with its undeciphered script, may be a relic of this secretive tradition. Its pages a silent witness to the alchemists' struggle to protect their discoveries. Historical records show that alchemical texts, smuggled across borders and translated in secret, found their way into the hands of men like Robert Boyle, whose work transformed alchemy's mystical dreams into the rigorous science of chemistry. The alchemists' isolation, though a burden, was also a gift, their solitude fostering a depth of thought that would shape the future. Nicholas Varnier, in his Parisian cellar, felt this isolation keenly. His journals a solitary record of a mind that refused to be bound by the limits of his time. His experiments, though often failures, were a testament to the human spirit. Their results recorded with a precision that would inspire later scientists to build on his work. The alchemists' legacy was not just in their discoveries, but in their courage, their willingness to face persecution and madness for the sake of knowledge. The moral lessons of alchemy were as enduring as its scientific contributions, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the value of humility. In the face of the unknown, historical accounts of alchemists like Brother Elias describe men and women who wrestled with their consciences, their pursuit of the philosopher's stone a test of faith as much as reason. Elias, kneeling before his wooden cross, sought forgiveness for the hubris that drove his experiments. His prayers a reflection of the medieval belief that knowledge could be both a gift and a sin. The Church's condemnation, rooted in the 1317 papal bull, was a warning against this hubris, a call to respect the divine order that placed limits on human ambition. Yet, the alchemists' failures were as instructive as their successes, their mistakes teaching future generations the importance of rigor and skepticism. Robert Boyle, in his laboratory, learned from these failures, his experiments grounded in a methodical approach that rejected the alchemists' mystical claims, while embracing their empirical methods. The alchemists' legacy was a paradox, a blend of triumph and tragedy, their dreams of gold and immortality giving way to a deeper understanding of the world. Sister Clara's legacy, though less visible, was no less profound. Her potions a reminder that alchemy's pursuit of healing was as important as its quest for wealth. Historical records of medieval medicine show that alchemists played a key role in developing remedies, their knowledge of minerals and herbs influencing the work of early pharmacists. Clara's cottage, with its fragrant air and quiet wisdom, was a microcosm of this legacy, her work a bridge between the mystical and the practical. Her remedies a testament to the alchemist's desire to ease human suffering. The villagers who sought her help, though wary of her strangeness, carried her knowledge into the future, their stories a thread that wove through the centuries to shape modern medicine. The alchemist's legacy was not confined to the laboratory. It was a cultural force that shaped the medieval imagination and beyond. Stories of the philosopher's stone, though rooted in failure, inspired poets, artists, and philosophers, their tales of transformation echoing through the ages. Historical texts, like those of Roger Bacon, showed that alchemy was not just a science, but a philosophy, a way of seeing the world as a place of hidden connections, where matter and spirit were intertwined. This philosophy influenced the Renaissance, where scholars like Marsilio Ficino revived the alchemical idea of a divine spark within all things, their work laying the groundwork for modern science and philosophy. The alchemist's legacy was a spark that burned through the centuries, its light illuminating the path from the medieval workshop to the modern laboratory, from the dreams of Brother Elias to the experiments of Robert Boyle. As we linger in this moment, let the weight of their legacy settle over you. The courage to pursue truth in the face of persecution, the humility to learn from failure, the vision to see beyond the limits of their time. The alchemist's world was one of paradox, a place where dreams of gold gave birth to the science of today, where the pursuit of the impossible shaped the possible. On History Orbit, we invite you to drift deeper into this tale, to feel the pulse of a legacy that lives on in every laboratory, every question, every spark of curiosity that drives us forward. If this journey speaks to your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide, joining our community as we uncover the past's hidden truths. Now, as the shadows of the workshop fade and the night deepens, let us turn to a final reflection, a warning etched in time where the alchemist's legacy becomes a mirror for our own ambitions, a reminder of the power and peril of the human quest for knowledge. As the faint glow of the alchemist's furnace dims and the echoes of their dreams fade into the night, we stand at the threshold of a final reflection, a moment to ponder the lessons of their journey, a warning etched in time. The alchemist's legacy, born in the crucible of medieval ambition, carries a message that resonates through the centuries, a reminder of the delicate balance between knowledge and hubris, discovery and destruction. Let us gather one last time with Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier and Sister Clara. Their stories a mirror for our own, their struggles a testament to the human spirit's unyielding quest for truth. On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this moment, to reflect on a world where the pursuit of the impossible shaped the possible, and to carry its lessons into the quiet of your own night. As the faint glow of the alchemist's furnace dims and the echoes of their dreams fade into the quiet of the night, we stand at the threshold of a final reflection, a moment to ponder the lessons of their journey, a warning etched in time. The alchemist's world with its bubbling retorts and cryptic manuscripts was a crucible, not just for metals, but for the human spirit, a place where ambition and humility clashed, where the pursuit of the impossible shaped the contours of the possible. Picture Brother Elias in his Tuscan abbey, his quill still as he gazes at the embers of his furnace, their dying light a mirror to the dreams that consumed his life. Or imagine Nicholas Varnier in his Parisian cellar, his journals closed, their pages heavy with the weight of unfulfilled promises. The city's distant hum a reminder of a world that both craved and condemned his work. In a Provencal cottage, Sister Clara stands at her window, the dawn painting the sky in hues of gold. Her hands still scented with herbs, her heart carrying the quiet wisdom of a healer. Who dared to dream beyond her time? On History Orbit, we invite you to linger in this moment, to let the rhythm of their story settle over you like a soft blanket, the faint rustle of parchment, the distant toll of a cathedral bell, and allow this tale to weave its final threads, a tapestry of human striving that speaks to us across the centuries. The alchemists, with their dreams of the philosopher's stone, were not mere seekers of gold. They were visionaries who dared to reach for the stars, their hands stained with the dust of their labors, their souls tested by the fires of their ambition. Their story, though rooted in the medieval world, is a mirror for our own, a reminder of the power and peril of the human quest for knowledge, a warning etched in time that echoes in every heart that yearns to know more, to be more, to transcend the mortal coil. The alchemist's journey was one of paradox, a dance between light and shadow, science and mysticism, hope and despair. From the outset, we walked with Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara through a world where the promise of transformation was both a beacon and a burden. In the smoky chambers of their workshops, we saw the allure of alchemy, its promise of turning lead into gold, of distilling the elixir of life, as described in ancient texts like the Emerald Tablet, whose cryptic words spoke of a unity between the earthly and the divine. Historical records, from Geber's Summa Perfectionis to Roger Bacon's Opus Majus, reveal a pursuit that was as much philosophical as practical, a quest to understand the hidden mechanisms of the world, to glimpse the divine order that underpinned creation. Brother Elias, in his Tuscan abbey, embodied this quest, his manuscripts filled with observations that blurred the line between science and faith, his experiments a prayer to a God he both revered and challenged. Yet this pursuit was not without its shadows, for the alchemist's ambition led to practices that tested the boundaries of morality, as we saw in the dangerous experiments with mercury and sulfur, the whispers of homunculi that haunted the pages of Paracelsus's writings. Nicholas Varnier, in his Parisian cellar, faced these dangers daily, his health eroded by toxic fumes, His journals a record of a mind pushed to the brink by the demands of his noble patron. The alchemist's world was one of risk, where every crucible held the potential for discovery or disaster, where the line between enlightenment and ruin was as thin as a spider's thread trembling in the wind. The Church's wrath, as we explored, cast a long shadow over this world. Its decrees, like the 1317 papal bull, spawned and quas non-exhibent, branding alchemists as heretics and frauds, driving them into secrecy. Brother Elias hid his manuscripts beneath the floorboards, his heart pounding with the fear of discovery, while Nicholas Varnier worked behind locked doors, his experiments cloaked in codes that baffled even the learned. Sister Clara, in her Provencal cottage, navigated this peril with quiet cunning, her potions disguised as remedies, her knowledge shared only with those who could be trusted. Historical accounts, like those of the Inquisition's trials, show the cost of this secrecy. Alchemists facing imprisonment or death for their defiance, their workshops raided, their dreams reduced to ash. Yet, even in the face of persecution, the alchemists persisted, their secretive networks preserving their knowledge through coded manuscripts, like the Voynich manuscript, whose enigmatic pages may hold the secrets of their art. This secrecy, though born of necessity, was also a testament to their resilience, their refusal to let the flame of curiosity be extinguished by fear. The alchemist's legacy, as we saw, stretched beyond the medieval world, its embers kindling the fire of modern science. Figures like Robert Boyle, building on the alchemist's methods, transformed their mystical dreams into the rigorous discipline of chemistry. Their laboratories a direct descendant of the workshops where Elias, Varnier, and Clara toiled. Sister Clara's potions, rooted in the traditions of Maria the Jewess, foreshadowed the work of early pharmacists. Her knowledge of herbs and minerals a bridge to modern medicine. The alchemist's legacy was not just in their discoveries, but in their courage, their willingness to question the natural order, to seek answers through experimentation, to believe that the world could be understood and reshaped. Yet, the alchemist's story is not one of triumph alone, it is a cautionary tale, a warning etched in time about the dangers of unchecked ambition. The Philosopher's Stone, for all its promise, remained elusive, a dream that consumed lives and left only questions in its wake. Historical records tell of alchemists like Brother Elias, whose health faded from years of exposure to mercury, his hands trembling as he recorded his final experiments, his faith tested by the failures that haunted his nights. Nicholas Varnier, driven by the demands of his patron, faced the temptation of fraud, his desperation a mirror to the moral dilemmas that plagued his craft. Sister Clara, though guided by a desire to heal, lived under the shadow of suspicion. Her village's whispers a reminder that knowledge could be as dangerous as it was powerful. The Church's condemnation, rooted in fears of heresy and economic disruption, was a reflection of these dangers, a warning that the pursuit of knowledge must be tempered by humility and restraint. Historical texts, like those of Albertus Magnus, suggest that some alchemists saw their work as a form of worship, a way to understand God's creation, yet others could not escape the fear that they were playing God. Their experiments a challenge to the divine order. The alchemist's legacy is a mirror held up to our own ambitions, a reminder that the quest for knowledge is a double-edged sword, capable of illuminating the world or casting it into shadow. As we stand at the end of this journey, let the weight of their story settle over you. The courage to chase the impossible, the sacrifice of those who dared to dream beyond their time. The alchemist's workshop, with its smoky air and flickering flames, was a microcosm of the human spirit, a place where hope and hubris collided, where the pursuit of truth was both a gift and a burden. Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara were not heroes in the traditional sense. They were flawed, driven by desires that were both noble and perilous. Their lives a testament to the complexity of human striving. Their story is not just a chapter in the history of science, it is a reflection of our own, a reminder that the quest for knowledge is never without cost, that the light of discovery is often born in the shadows of sacrifice. Historical records, from the cryptic verses of the Emerald Tablet to the meticulous observations of Geber and Bacon, show that the alchemists were not mere dreamers, they were seekers who changed the world. Their failures as instructive as their successes. Their legacy lives on in every laboratory, every medicine, every question. That drives us to look beyond the known, yet it also carries a warning, a call to balance ambition with wisdom, to pursue truth with reverence for the limits of our humanity. Imagine for a moment the final moments of Brother Elias standing alone in his Tuscan abbey, as the first light of dawn creeps through a narrow window. His furnace cold, his manuscripts hidden, his heart heavy with the knowledge that his work would outlive him. Picture Nicholas Varnier closing his journal in the dim light of his Parisian cellar. The city's clamor a distant echo, his dreams of gold giving way to a quieter hope that his experiments would one day bear fruit. See Sister Clara standing at her cottage door, the scent of lavender lingering in the air, her eyes fixed on the horizon, her potions a silent gift to a world that feared her wisdom. Their stories, though separated by time and place, are woven together by a common thread, the unyielding desire to transcend, to transform, to touch the divine. On History Orbit, we have walked with them through the shadows of their world, from the allure of forbidden knowledge to the wrath of the church, from the dangers of their experiments to the legacy they left behind. Their journey is a mirror for our own, a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is a fire that can warm or consume, a flame that must be tended with care. As you listen, perhaps with the quiet of the night, around you let their story linger, a whisper of the past that speaks to the present, a warning etched in time that echoes in every heart that dares to dream. The alchemist's tale is not one of endings, but of beginnings, a spark that ignited the modern world, a legacy that lives in every question we ask, every boundary we push. Their failures were not in vain. Their dreams of the philosopher's stone, though unfulfilled, paved the way for the science we know today. Their courage a beacon for those who follow. As we close this chapter, let the rhythm of their story carry you, like the gentle tide of a forgotten sea, into the quiet of your own thoughts. The medieval world, with its smoky workshops and whispered secrets, is not so far from our own. Its lessons a guide for the challenges we face. Its warnings a call to tread lightly in the pursuit of truth. On History Orbit, we invite you to carry this tale with you, to join us in exploring the shadows of the past, where the stories of men and women like Brother Elias, Nicholas Varnier, and Sister Clara live on. Their dreams are light that never fades. If their journey has stirred your soul, let that subscribe button be your guide. Joining our community of seekers as we uncover the truths hidden in history's depths. As the night deepens and the world grows still, let the alchemist's warning echo in your heart. A reminder that the quest for knowledge is a journey without end, a fire that burns eternal, a legacy that calls us to dream, to dare, to discover, but always with the humility to know our place in the vast tapestry of existence.